Now, you didn't just think I was going to do Euros content, did you? There's another competition going on across the seas, and it's called Copa America. Group stage is finished. I haven't really covered it up until this point, but now there's a bit of a break from the Euros. It feels like the right time to do so, and I'm going to start with the holders, the champions, the world champions, Argentina, just because it feels like a logical place to start. They finished their group with 3 wins out of 3, dominated it, going into the quarterfinals, as are Brazil, which sets up, if it all goes to plan, a Brazil and Argentina final in the Copa America. I say like that's going to be an interesting thing. It kind of happens a lot in this competition. But as a result, I feel like now is the time to do some tactical analysis. I'm going to go over Argentina's tactics and how they've performed in the group stage so far, the things I like, the things I don't like, but I'll be honest with you, there's a lot more I like about this Argentina team than I don't like. And there's a lot of things that in my head shouldn't really work, but so far are. And I do feel like Scaloni's got the balance. I feel like he still gets really criticised, Scaloni, and look, I can't see it personally. There are some issues, and even look, in the World Cup there were some tactical issues. They didn't really kick on until, I'd say, about extra time of the Netherlands game, which was in the quarterfinals. You know, they lost their first group stage game to Saudi Arabia. But I look at the balance of this Argentina squad, and he gets a lot out of it in terms of creating a place where top quality technicians can thrive, and nothing more exemplifies that than when I go over the in-possession for Argentina, which I'm going to do now. Now, in their initial phase of build-up Argentina, it looks a little bit like this. Now, keep in mind that Messi and Alvarez have been playing as the striker pair. They'll sit quite narrow in that forward line. Alvarez looking to occupy a defender and look to sort of break lines to provide more of that striking option, and allowing Messi a bit more freedom to wander in between the lines to create passing angles for the deeper lot. The left-sided midfielder, in the first game it was McAllister, in the second game it was Enzo Fernandez, typically plays high into this area here in the left half space as an attack in mid. Now, there's been difference in the sides and how they play with the width in the two games. So in the first game, Molina played as the right back, but he played as the more reserve option, as Acuna played at left wing back and was the source of width on the left-hand side, as Di Maria was the starting right winger and played over this side. The defence would switch across a little bit here. Martin as left centre-back, Christian Romero right centre-back, and Molina playing as the sort of more orthodox right back. And that was against Canada, where they won the game 2-0. In the second game, it was different, but it was the same, and that made no sense, I know. But instead of having Acuna supplying the width on the left-hand side from fullback, it was instead Tagliafico who played similar to the position that Molina played on this side, as the winger wasn't Di Maria who played on the right, it was Nico Gonzalez who stretched the play on the left, and Molina pushed forward to supply the width from right back. And I'll go over with that template just because the Chile game I thought was the more tactically interesting of the two. But it's the same basic principle, it's just where they're looking to implement a certain player on a certain side, and it's generally who the attacking threat going into that game. As the wide player that's the winger will supply the width and look for the direct ball over the top from the deeper areas, as opposed to the fullback. The fullback can typically drop in a little bit more to receive the ball. They can go direct from the deeper areas and look for those out-to-in runs from the winger, but that winger, whichever side he's playing in, is an important source to break out, and it's important to have that option if Argentina look to go for the direct option. With the movement they have and the technical quality within that midfield 4-3, if you include Messi, then that can distract the opponent. It can draw the opponent's shape in narrow, so they can try and prevent central overload, and as a result creating that little run here that he can make to attack this area on the left and on the right. So his output is incredibly important. Nico Gonzalez got into a good few positions against Chile in the second game, and just his finishing let him down on a lot of occasions. Really lacked a lot of composure and didn't put his chances away when he needed to. But they found him a number of times. But in these areas, it is worth noting that what Argentina boast is an incredible amount of high technical quality and versatile group of midfielders that can contribute to so many different phases of play. So the midfield 3 that started against Chile were Enzo Fernandez, Alexis McAllister and Rodrigo de Paul. All technically top draw and can play defensively, can play in the middle area of the pitch, can play in the attacking area of the pitch with great quality, and their technical range and their passing range suits all of those zones. So having that amount of versatility and that amount of just well-rounded quality within that midfield is so important for a possession-based game. And Argentina typically play with short passes in and around this shape, playing it between the lines, and that level of press-resistant quality is huge. And the left-sided midfielder in this shape, first game it was McAllister, second game it was Enzo Fernandez, can look for the ball inside, who will then use his press resistance to ride the challenge of the fullback coming in, then to play it to Alvarez, who can knock it across to Messi, and they can quickly transfer the ball over to this side of the pitch to attack down the opposite side. And just having players that can come into that middle zone between defence and midfield and not panic on the ball and release it brilliantly is amazing, and it's such a testament to the technical quality of which Argentina breathed some of these players. And it's not just this typical shape that you see here from Argentina, with the fullback looking a bit more natural and creating a bit of an uneven shape with the fullback here on the left hand side and the midfielders coming over, leading to it being a bit one-sided. I feel like that happens a lot more in this build-up area when the fullback is the one supplying the width on the one side. But if they build up on the right, then the player that's usually Rodrigo de Paul playing in the right centre midfield position pulls off into the right centre back position to try and create angles and turn this into more of a 2-3-2-3 and receive the ball in these areas. You can play it to Montiel. That pulls the shape across. That means Messi can drop in a little bit deeper and receive the ball, because obviously this tactic is a lot to do with getting Messi on the ball and getting him creating and supplying balls to the forward areas, or getting him into the space between defence and midfield where he knows close control and high dribbling ability can hurt teams. But unlike when the play was building up on the left and Rodrigo de Paul was tucking in, you wouldn't get that from the left back. He typically hold his width, which means that Argentina can use their wide build-up to quickly switch it from side to side, start attacking down the other side of the pitch quickly, and completely rip the opponent's shape apart and create more openings from there where they can feed it into players between the lines. Rodrigo de Paul is, for me, maybe the most underrated midfielder in world football, as not only can he play in that central zone as the pivot, he can play in that right back zone to receive it in these areas. He can also get it in between the line, which he does do on occasion, pushing Messi in more as a central striker. That then means they're dealing with a central four in between the lines, with the players supplying width, the winger and the fullback. And not only does this overload those central areas to create more passing angles from deep, but it also means that Messi can drift off more to receive it in this area, which we know he likes to do. And as much as Messi is confined to that right attacking midfield spot, it's Messi. He wanders, he looks for the ball in deeper areas because he's just got the ability to hurt players and hurt teams from deep. And having that understanding with a player like Rodrigo de Paul, who's tactically top draw, can only enable that function and still make it work within the relation of a tactical identity of a team. And the tactical understanding between some of these players is just so top draw. It's incredible. And they'll build up slow, as I've just said. It'll use their position, they'll use their possessional play and their positional play to really hurt teams. Play it into the wide areas where they can attack their fullbacks from this area and put balls into the box, or get it into Messi, give him that bit of freedom and get runners moving off of him to create chances from there, and use his ability to unlock defences and create goal scoring opportunities. So they play football the right way. It's incredible. And the technical level throughout the spine, not just in the midfielders in Messi, but in Romero and Lisandro Martinez as their centre back too, top drawer, and I can't speak highly enough about it. But we're going to go over the defence now. Now, Argentina defend in a 4-4-2. They're very passive. The front two, which has been Alvarez and Messi, won't look to press. They'll look to sort of block the passing lanes into the centre of the pitch. You'll get generally more marking from the centre midfielders in this position, as they'll stick to the midfielders that are closer to them, which allows Lisandro Martinez and Romero to squeeze in and take care of the striker. And as I say, as much as it's zonal from the front two and even the wide players at points, the fullbacks will look to generally man-mark their players. So say if they've got a winger that's dropping deep, they will follow the man into this position. But they've also got wing-backs that are very capable of tracking their runners. I thought Nico Gonzalez in the game against Chile did a fantastic job covering the run of the wing-back to get into this position once Tagliafico was pulled out. Likewise in the Canada game, Di Maria did a really good job defending his fullback as well. Responsible work from these guys, the midfielders blocking the pass lanes through the centre, and wingers covering the fullbacks. And you saw it a number of times where even Tagliafico in the fullback position was pushed on marking and jumping out to press when Nico Gonzalez was pushed back into the defensive line. It also helps that you have players in Lisandro Martinez and Christian Romero, who I have to say are surprising me greatly, because I didn't think, and to an extent I still don't think that centre-back partnership can work, but so far it is performing brilliantly. Both are stoppers, they're aggressors, so they'll typically come out into this position here if the ball gets played, where Romero especially and Lisandro Martinez can win the ball, use their physicality and their aggression to win. And it's great for transitional opportunities as well, so if they win the ball in this position, they can use their ability to launch counter-attacks and launch fast-paced attack in play. Romero with his ability to drive the ball from deep, Lisandro Martinez with his technical ability It'll be interesting to see how this defence copes against a top-class attack because of the lack of height and aerial presence they offer, which is why Argentina, I think, sits so deep. Because of that, they'd struggle to play on the halfway line, not just because of that lack of aerial presence, but also because of the lack of recovery pace in this area. But they cover well and they defend well as a unit, Argentina, when they get pulled back into that position. And I also have to say, with how much I was crediting the midfield in possession for their technical ability and their ability to contribute to defensive and attacking phases, out of possession as well, they are fantastic. And also, I thought McAllister against Chile was sensational in transition, especially when you look at the way that they play the fullback. So let's just say Molina getting pulled into this area here. Let's say Tagliafico's gone a bit far forward, and it leaves these wide areas free. McAllister's recovery into this position to shield the attacking threat mainly, that allows Martinez and Romero to sort of press out a bit, and also while shadowing his man to go and press the player on the ball that's carrying it to create that counter-attacking threat, was sensational. The defence quickly retreats in, so let's just say if Tagliafico's back, Lisandro Martinez and Romero. And I will say, the recovery run of the fullback that's pushed on to supply the width is sensational. Obviously, they're going to call it out in those quick phases of play when they're pushed so high, but they do their utmost to chase back, and the midfielders do as well when you look at the pool, when you look at Enzo Fernandez and whoever's playing in the wide areas. But McAllister just using his positional sense and his reading of the game and his shielding to buy them that extra couple of seconds makes all the difference. Such a fantastic player. I just think for McAllister there is no weakness to his game, and he's proved it, I think, in these group stage games. In the first game, left-sided attacker, was able to contribute to play in between the lines. Second game, defensive midfielder, defended the transition brilliantly, and was so important in Chile having like 3 shots on Argentina's goal. There's such a balance to this Argentina side that I'm looking forward to see how they go on in the later stages and defend their Copa America crown. But what do you guys think? I'd love to know your thoughts. And remember to leave feedback, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in a bit, lads.